You wake up, you stretch, you blink, you look around, and everything feels normal. This is reality, or at least, you assume it is. But how do you actually know? Have you ever truly questioned it? The room around you, the objects you touch, the people you interact with. What if none of it is real? What if everything you've ever known is nothing more than a carefully crafted illusion? And if reality itself is fake, then what does it even mean for something to be real? Everything you perceive, every sound, every texture, every color, isn't the real world. It's a simulation. Not in the sense of a computer program, but a model that your brain constructs to help you navigate what you think is reality. You don't see the world as it is. You see the world as your brain interprets it. You are not experiencing reality. You are experiencing a filtered, edited version of it. Think about color. Your brain tells you that the sky is blue, but that color doesn't exist outside of your mind. In reality, blue is just a specific wavelength of light. Your eyes take in the data, and your brain assigns it a color. But what if your brain processed it differently? What if everyone sees colors in unique ways, but will never know? Or worse, what if there's no color at all? Maybe everything is just empty waves of energy, and what we see is nothing more than a trick our brains play to make sense of something incomprehensible. Everything you experience, sight, sound, taste, and even time, is just signals being interpreted in a way that makes sense to you. But if all you've ever known is an illusion, then how can you ever be sure what's real? In 2019, physicists at the University of Vienna conducted an experiment that questioned the very foundation of reality. It was based on a thought experiment called Wigner's Friend. The results were disturbing. Two different observers watched a quantum particle. One observer saw it in one state. The other saw a completely different result. And yet, both were correct. Two conflicting realities, existing simultaneously. This means that reality isn't fixed. There is no universal objective truth, only perspectives. And if reality changes based on who is observing it, then does it even exist independently at all? Now let's take this idea even further. What if reality doesn't just change based on who is looking at it? What if it doesn't exist until you observe it? In quantum mechanics, there is something called the observer effect. It suggests that a particle doesn't have a definite state until it is measured. Before it is observed, it exists in all possible states at once. But the moment you look at it, it chooses one. So what does that mean for the universe? If reality only becomes real when it is observed, then what happens to the parts of the universe that no one is looking at? Do they even exist? And if we are not observing them, do we exist? Philosopher Nick Bostrom proposed a disturbing theory. If we continue advancing technology, at some point, we will be able to create perfect simulations, digital worlds so advanced that the beings inside them would have no idea that their reality isn't real. Now think about this. If civilizations can create countless simulated worlds, then the number of simulated realities would vastly outnumber the one true reality. So statistically speaking, you are far more likely to be inside a simulation than in the real world. Your thoughts, just data, your emotions, electrical signals, your choices, predetermined lines of code. And if everything is just a simulation, then does anything actually exist? Or are we just ghosts in a machine? But let's say we're not in a simulation. What if we're not even real? There's a famous philosophical question called the brain in a jar problem. Imagine that right now, you are nothing more than a brain floating in a lab, hooked up to electrodes, being fed artificial experiences. How would you know? Everything you think is reality could just be impulses being sent to your brain. Your body, an illusion. Your memories, fabricated. If this were true, would it change anything? If the world around you is fake, but you can never escape it, does it even matter? This idea extends even further. What if yourself isn't real? Your thoughts, your emotions, your consciousness? What if they're just an elaborate illusion created by your brain? Neuroscientist Anil Seth describes consciousness as a controlled hallucination, a story your brain tells itself to make sense of the chaos around it. You are not experiencing reality. You are experiencing your brain's best guess at what reality is. And that guess? It's flawed, it's biased, and it might not be real at all. We cannot prove reality is real. We cannot trust our senses, and we cannot even be sure that we exist. And yet, here you are, listening, thinking, questioning. So let me leave you with one final thought. If nothing is real, then what are you?